Okay, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Doctors in Silver. It's been about a year now that you've joined me here on a monthly basis. So welcome. Thank you for your support and your viewership. This is a TV show where your voice matters. So let's say you didn't have 15 minutes of fame, but 30 minutes or even an hour of fame. What would be the message that you would want to share with the world? Or what are you passionate about that you want to discuss? Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the African proverb, ask not what, it takes a whole village to raise a child. And John F. Kennedy also said, ask not what your country could do for you, but what you can do for your country. I say let's take one step further and ask what the community could do for each other. Now, this show is about bringing various different guests that are doing some really phenomenal things out in the community. These are your local neighbors. And today we have one that's joined us, and it's Lyle Benjamin. Lyle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome. And please tell me, what do you do?
Well, I'm the executive director of a nonprofit educational organization, and it's called 16 Things Kids Can Do. And we work with kids of all ages. So it's a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization that works for the betterment of kids, people, and the planet through a series of books, workshops, programs, and activities, all designed to help people lead happier, healthier, and more successful lives.
That's fantastic. And when was this founded? When did this get established?
I started the organization in 2010, and we've been adding content nonstop ever since. And we are in the process of launching this fall a new program that's going to exist on a local, national, and global level.
Wow. So let me ask you this.
Sure.
What inspired you to come up with something like this?
Well, the thing is that when I was younger, I had a difficult childhood, and I started working when I was 11 years old, and doing adult type of work, actually in the city, working in a florist. But I was befriended by some other people that I met through business, who owned other companies in the area, and they would sit and they would talk to me, and listen to what's going on in my life, and treat me like an adult, and that happened actually not only while I was working, but then later on in school. And I always wanted to repay those people, but I knew I couldn't do it directly. Okay. So I wanted to get into something that could help other people. But unfortunately, I chose law and found out that the legal system isn't set up really to help people. That's not what it teaches you or trains you in. So I left that profession, and I started a national newsstand magazine on helping people with relationships. I did a best-selling adult relationship game, and I tried to help people in that capacity, but I realized that there are other fundamental things that people are being educated on,
right,
that really aren't providing quality of life later on. So there has to be more than what we go to school for and what our corporations provide and what the government provides for us. And we're not getting that from all the institutions. So we've got to go ahead and, take a more proactive approach to providing for ourselves and our families and our future. So the programs that I started to create, because people would come to me and say, hey, I've got kids, I've got a situation, what can I do? It's not working out.
Right.
And it actually didn't work out for me as well. I did the American dream, supposedly. Went to school, got a good education, had a business, made money, and what do? You do what they tell you to do. You put it into the stock market, you put it into sometimes real estate if you have some extra money, and those things didn't always work out. I ended up losing a lot of money, and I'm just like everybody else, middle class, kids, going to college, can't afford that, right? So there are things that we need to learn about how things work, because you can have a great life for 40 years and then all of a sudden something could happen and everything can change in a heartbeat. You know, look what happened in North Carolina, okay, with the flooding. You know, you can have Hurricane Sandy come, you know, and it just devastates people, businesses, families, destroys communities. And if there's not mechanisms in place to take care of these things, right, it's going to really affect your quality of life. And there's, you know, loss of jobs, there's, you know, income inequality, there's divorce, there's all these issues. And, you know, the educational process, the government, the companies, they're all doing things for their own self-interest, really, right, and not for the benefit of, you know, 90% of the population.
So let's go back to 2010. What was the first program that you had out there?
Well, the first program that we do is really a mentorship internship program, okay, with a lot of colleges and universities. And again, it's because the educational system isn't always teaching what they need to teach, and it's not always hands-on. So it's preparing people for jobs, yet it's not giving them the skills to be successful.
The life skills and stuff like that.
The life skills. So I created a program, and it's in place in every, you know, NYU, Columbia, Syracuse, St. John's, wow, Hofstra, Hunter, Baruch, you know, Penn State, Cornell, all these schools, right, have accepted it, send us students in a lot of different disciplines, and regardless of what they come in for, whether it's IT, graphic design, animation, business, finance, marketing, BR, management, English, education, we give them skills, real world skills in those areas, but we add in what we call 8 foundation disciplines.
And what is that?
We start off with communication. Okay. That's skill number 1. And then we add in business marketing management, office technology, research, problem solving, and time management. And we teach them comprehensively, you know, so that people can go ahead and utilize them and see how they relate to each other in order to achieve objectives. Because what happens is, you know, courses are normally taught, unless you're going to something very specialized like medicine, they give you a lot of theory, but they don't give you the practical application of how that works. So students think that they're getting a really good education, but when they get out into the real world, they find, hey, they didn't even know what the profession was really about, right, and what their day-to-day is going to be, and the skills necessary for them to be successful. So they got to learn on the job, right? And a lot of things that they do, right, may end up getting them fired because, you know, they don't have the knowledge of how to exist in a professional and get the results that they need. So we try to take care of that for them, and it's a very tough program.
I bet. So tell me about some of the other ones. Tell me about the first time when I spoke to you.
Yes.
And the acts of kindness. Tell me about that, because that's really
sure.
That really got me.
Love to. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
This is a program that we're starting now in the fall, and it's called Planned Acts of Kindness. And it's a program where people wake up and on their cell phone, their computer, their device, there's a new daily planned activity that they can do with their friends, family, coworkers, or in the community. The goal is to have tens of millions of people waking up and doing the same thing on the same day and unleashing that much positive, powerful energy into the world. Okay? And then as a corollary to that, the problems of the world, like climate change, pollution, pandemics, terrorism, right, whatever, aren't going to be solved by the governments, the corporations, or even the religions. They're going to be solved by ordinary people around the world working together with a common purpose on common causes. And that's how we can affect change. So when we have companies that are polluting and we give them a time frame that they need to clean up their activities and they don't go ahead and do it, we can bring really tens of millions of people to bear to go ahead and get them to change that behavior. Because we only have one planet. That's
true.
We're all in the, we're all linked together on this planet. And if we don't start changing these problem conflict areas, the world's going to be tremendously different for billions of people, and not in a positive way. And we're already seeing the effects of that here in the United States. The storms are getting stronger. The wildfires are getting, more intense, more frequent, right? Everything is changing, and we're already going to have to go ahead and do changes to Florida, New York, California because of rising seawater from internal, states, rising rivers, right. Okay? And it's only going to get more pronounced, and we can't go ahead and backslide, with emissions from automobiles, with, deregulation on coal plants and everything else. We've got to be more vigilant in terms of stopping this type of activities.
So give me an example, Lyle, of these acts of kindness that these youth could do and so on that will address some of the issues that you just brought up.
Well, the thing is that the daily planned acts are designed for everyone, and they're designed where you don't really need you don't really need anything to do except your desire to do them. Okay. So, for instance, a very simple thing, right, is smile at people that you normally see that you wouldn't ordinarily smile to.
Okay.
That's very easy. Everyone can give a smile. But if you start seeing people around you smile a little bit more, you're going to say, something's different. What's going on? Right? And then you're going to realize, hey, maybe this is something I can do as well, right? Because it makes you feel better.
Exactly.
Okay? So you do that. Another daily activity might be someone normally says something that's going to get your blood going. Okay, I was just talking to someone earlier today where they said, one of the people that, they're working with sometimes has this, proclivity. You say something and then he gets set off a little bit, and you got to change the subject because otherwise it's going to escalate. Right. So you make it a point not to go ahead and escalate situations because it really takes two to do that. Okay? And you'll see that by doing conflict management, right, you're going to go ahead and make things better not only for yourself, but for the environment around you. And when you have a lot of people doing the same thing on the same day, right, other people are going to take notice. So with planned acts of kindness, these are simple things that people can do with their friends, family, coworkers, right, in the community. The thing is that when most people volunteer, one, they don't really know where to volunteer all the time, consistently. They want to do more, right? But how many, soup kitchens can you go to? Okay. How many times can you clean up a park? How many times can you go ahead and do a walkathon? Those things, what I call feel-good things, where you're doing something really for yourself, not really something for other people and for the community, okay? At a soup kitchen, you have a lot of people who volunteer maybe to help out, but the bottom line is those people are going to eat regardless.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, if you get in the habit of doing planned acts and they're always there for you during the course of a month after month, right, you start to develop the habit of being, doing things for other people. When you do things for other people, it actually creates change in yourself. Harvard, right, just did a study. Actually, it's one of the longest studies ever conducted. It started in 1938. It was sophomores, 268 of them, and they wanted to track what characteristics or what qualities lead to a happier and healthy life. So they tracked these sophomores, and the study's still going on. 19 of the people are still alive, but it went into a generational study with their children as well. And what they found out is the most important thing that really helps you lead a happier and healthier life is the relationships that you form, the bonds that you form, the sense of community and support that you have, and the other added benefit is you live longer. So people who start out, let's say, on the wrong side of the bed, okay, when they're younger, right? As they get older, they can actually change that. And then as they grow and as they develop the bonds and the strong ties and the roots, right, they can actually catch up and overtake people who started really well with that proverbial, let's say, silver spoon, right? But then did some self-destructive behaviors, right? Sacrificed their relationships. And so it's never too late to go ahead and change and get the benefits. And one of the best ways to do that is by being outside yourself, right? And then helping other people.
Yeah, you know, all the things that you just pretty much shared with us, it kind of resonates with me really well. You know, I feel that whether people are aware of it or not, we're all connected.
Yes.
You said the word linked, and we are. So every action, there's a reaction. You know, and so if you are just a simple thing about a smile, and that kind of reminds you of my mom. My mom always conscious about making somebody else's day a brighter day. You should try to make them smile. You should try to make them laugh.
That's a great quality.
And yeah, and it's an impact that, you know, it's something that doesn't cost anything. It's effortless, but it does change somebody's, you know, attitude or, you know, point of view or perspective maybe for that moment, which hopefully they'll be able to impact somebody else. It's like the butterfly effect, right?
Right.
You know, and I think, you know, of all the things that you did mention, that, you know, the ones that are supposedly there to kind of be taken care of, which would put them in place to take care of us, you know, our elected officials and everything else, and corporations, our educational system and so on. They're family, you know, they're not there. So I mean, what I like about your concept and your company and your vision, and your mission is to get to that vision, to reach that goal, is the fact that you realize we all could do this together, and we could do it collectively, and to get in a daily practice, right?
Right.
Of doing this on a day-to-day basis, because the more you do it, better you become at it. The more also you begin to, you know, affect others that have joined you, but what it does for you within yourself,
right,
and how it transforms you in a positive sense. So yeah, this is extremely exciting.
Well, we have a slogan. It's called "The more you do, the greater your rewards," because the program's actually built on karma. Okay, and karma is the concept where, you know, what you do comes back to you.
Okay.
So we have something called the Karma Constitution.
The Karma Constitution.
Where we have a worldwide constitution that starts off, "We, the children of the world, unite," and it's available on our website. And
what's your website?
Our website is plannedactsofkindness.org. Okay, and we shorten it to PAC when you do your daily PACs, right? Your daily planned acts of kindness. But the website is plannedactsofkindness.org, and you'll see on there is the Karma Constitution that governs really how we act in the world. Okay, and then we have something called the Karma Club.
The Karma Club. Okay.
Karma Club. So everyone who comes into, right, the organization, there's no cost to joining the Karma Club. It's a way for you to go ahead and do your daily planned acts, keep track of what you're doing, show it to others. But there's actually 4 different activities that you can do during the course of the month, that when you achieve certain levels, you actually move up in the Karma Club. And then you become eligible for free giveaways that we do every single day to a random member of the Karma Club at that level. So we really gamified it to go ahead and, you know, get people involved, right? Keep their energy up, and it's very simple initially to do, right? You can do one daily planned act. You go ahead and share information about planned acts of kindness, right, with other people, because this is all about we're in it together.
Right.
So it's really, hey, get other people involved, okay? Have 2 people come into the organization, right, and join the Karma Club. Also, doing things for other people is a foundation of what we do. It's education plus action, right, equals objectives. So the thing is, we have lots of different initiatives in our nonprofit, which is 16 things, and you can volunteer no matter where you are in the world in any of the programs that we have, using whatever your interests are to help your local or national or global community. So you have a volunteer aspect built into the program. And then lastly, right, there are donations, whether they're products, services, or actual dollars that people can do. It doesn't have to be from the person who's doing, right, you know, the Karma Club, right? But there are ways that they can go ahead and do that. For instance, we're coming out with Karma coins. They're actual brass coins, just like money. And on one side, it says Karma coin of kindness with the yin and yang, everything in balance. And then on the other side, it's promoting National Kindness Month, which we're launching in December, which is to bring awareness to the organization and the fact that we need to have, right, unity across the country and on the planet, as opposed to lack of civility, divisiveness, right, and all the things that are tearing us apart.
Right.
And with these Karma coins of kindness, what's really kind of cool is that for the ones that are in the United States, it has the American flag in the center. But the thing is, you can be from any country in the world, and you can get your own Karma coins for your own country.
Right.
And then on the website, we're going to track how many coins are in circulation, right? So we can see what countries are going ahead and doing what.
Well, I hope this does go viral.
Well, thank you.
In many different levels. Yeah, this is so exciting to be hearing this. You know, I missed the things that are going on around the world that kind of like, you know, you just don't even want to turn on the news anymore because it kind of it puts a downer and depresses you. And to see these wonderful things, and this is what this show is really about, is to, you know, give exposure to, you know, wonderful organizations and people that are doing some really amazing things that you want more people to be aware of it. Because I think what happens is, you know, it becomes it's a contagious thing in a positive sense. Because I believe that people have that, you know, that within themselves, that they want to connect and they want to be helpful. You know, and one thing that I did a workshop on is I feel love is the strongest force in the universe. You know, it's humanity's greatest ally.
Right.
It encourages to do the right thing most of the time. Where fear is, I believe, humanity's greatest nemesis. And there's various different acronyms for it, but there's 2 that I normally use, which is false evidence appearing real or fantasy experiences real. And what fear does is do 2 things. It encourages people to do the wrong thing most of the time.
Yeah.
Worse said, it impedes us to doing the right thing most of the time. And that's the interplay. So if people really kind of see that part of it, as, you know, because what you're sharing here is connection, is positivity, it's enhancing and supporting each other, coming together to address an issue that's affecting all of us in a negative way. Right. And I see all that as remnants of, you know, of love, you know, and again, you know, uniting us in so many different ways. And I'm so excited about the, you know, the karmic institution. Is that I say correct?
Yeah, the Karma Constitution and the Karma Club.
Yeah, and, you know, and saying that we're all children of the world, right? Because we are. You know, and if we keep that in perspective, I always feel that I always ask people, what is the greatest resource on the planet? well, water, this, and so I said, no, our youth. Our youth is our greatest resource on the planet, and if we don't commit and dedicate our time, our effort, our our money and assets towards, and our love and caring, we seal our fate. And and
Absolutely.
so I believe an organization such as yours is providing a solution, one of the solutions.
And we have additional programs that are designed specifically for youth as well as adults, and they're actual educational courses, workshops, or they're full courses with classes that can be instituted from a high school through college or even community basis, and they go into different subjects that are really essential. So, for instance, one of the programs that we have a lot of support from governors and mayors around the country is National Kids Month. Okay, there's Mother's Day, Father's Day. Okay, there's actually even a Kids Day, but it's meaningless. There's nothing that you can do except acknowledge, hey, there are kids in the world. Big deal. Okay, we all know that. But the thing is that National Kids Month has each week in the month of August, starting next year, we're going to have programs around the country where the first week deals with health, nutrition, and fitness. Second week deals with financial literacy and planning. Third week is on communication. And fourth week is on social responsibility and volunteerism. And then we're certifying instructors where we have set curriculum that they go ahead and do. All the programs are free. And we're going to do this in conjunction with schools, churches and temples, nonprofits, government agencies, and even businesses, opening it up for people to come in, attend the course, and then the classes. So each class or each course lasts a week, and it's taught different stages. But for every educational aspect that goes on in the class, there's also a corresponding action plan that the attendees do. And it's designed not only just to go ahead and impact them right then, but throughout the year and throughout their lives. I've had students who come through our internship program and they study different things, and I know what they study, I know what their courses are, their curriculum is, and then I say, hey, didn't you study this like last semester or whatever, it's in your resume, we talked about it. And they go, oh yeah, that was last semester. I don't remember that now. That's not the type of internalization that we want, right? That's going to affect your life. So they're learning just to go ahead and take the tests. We design curriculum that affects you, and once you go ahead and learn, you've got to enact, and then we feel also that people, once they go do something for their own benefit, they should have a social responsibility to help other people. And that's what we try to instill in others. Okay? So that's National Kindness Month with the class curriculum. We have others, but then also we have youth learn and earn programs, entrepreneurship programs for youth and adults. There's a lot of different programs, and it's all available, on planactsofkindness.org, where you can take a look, where your audience can take a look and see, and then get involved in any way they want, any way they wish.
So what are your partnerships? I mean, this thing sounds like humongous. I mean, it's really encompassing and pretty comprehensive in many ways.
Right. Well, the thing is, the partnerships primarily have been schools in terms of, the college mentorship, internship programs. So with the schools I mentioned before, but we've done things for, Police Athletic League. We've done things for churches before. We've done things for, other nonprofits, daycares, and where we come in and we do workshops. And we have something called a legacy building workshop, which is teaching people the 5 fundamental things that they need to know in order to create something for themselves and their family. You've got to know how to get savings on things that you already spend money on, how to take that savings and put it towards your debt, put it towards right? You know, your family, put it towards your retirement, okay? You know, how to get legal protection for yourself and your family that doesn't break the bank, because most people won't go ahead and find out what their rights are and find out how to protect themselves because they don't have the money to do it, because it's such an expensive proposition to get into. So you need to know where you can go in order to get that type of, you know, advice and make it actionable. You've got to know how money really works. Okay, so even if you go through and you've got a master's in finance, economics, or business, all you're really learning is the Wall Street way about how money works. Wall Street doesn't work for 90% of the population. So you've got to know, you know, where your money goes, right? How you take it in, how taxes affect their quality of life, what the number one cause of bankruptcy is in this country. And it's not failure in business, and it's not credit card debt.
Right.
It's long-term care, chronic care, it's health issues. And those aren't covered by companies. Those aren't covered by the government, okay? Unless you're bankrupt or, you know. So the thing is that people, millions of people across the country have issues in health with family members or themselves. And it literally tears the family apart. Because if I'm ill, but I don't have the money to go ahead and get the care, one of my family members is going to have to give up something to take care of me. And then they can lose their jobs because they're taking too much time off, right? Or it becomes, you know, a mental, physical, you know, disability for themselves. And the cost of long-term care today is over $250,000 per person.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
It's
I
crazy.
don't know how families are doing it.
They're not.
It's unfortunate.
So the thing is that, you know, a neighbor across the street from where I live, his children sold his house for literally $150,000 below market because they needed the money right then and there for his health care. That's not, you know, what you spend, you know, building up, you know, your lifetime to do. So it can happen at any age. And the thing is, most people aren't prepared for it.
Yeah. No, they're not. Well, we saw what happened in 2008, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of those situations because people were having health issues and then they can keep up with the, you know, the payments on their mortgages and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely unfortunate. Let me ask you this, Lyle.
Sure.
What are some of the challenges for this encompassing, beautiful vision? What has been the challenges for you?
Well, the thing is that because we're different than all other nonprofits, nonprofits are taught to really specialize and focus on one thing so that they can fundraise, so they can raise money for their cause, their one cause. So by their very nature, they really discriminate. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing or intentionally negative, but they either deal with the infirmed, excuse me, they deal with people from, you know, disadvantaged, you know, region of the country, the world, different, you know, disadvantaged socioeconomic levels, you know, whatever it is. From the outset, the organization 16 Things was set up to go ahead and benefit everyone, to not discriminate on any issue, whether, you know, it's race, religion, age, gender, you know, income, you know, economic status, education. So in order to fulfill that mission, there actually had to be a lot of programs in place that could handle that broad scope. So the biggest challenge was, right, developing working programs, you know, over time that we can then go ahead and create a framework that we can get out to people so that they can say, hey, I'm interested in this aspect. Okay. And we're at that point now where we can do that. So now what we're focusing on is really outreach. And we're doing it in many different areas. We're going to the politicians, the senators, the governors, the mayors, letting them know about the programs, like National Kids Month and now National Kindness Month. And then we're going into the schools. We're expanding our mentorship internship program. So we have people signing up for that in Georgia, in California, in a lot of other states where they do remote programs, as well as as well as in our office. We're going into other nonprofits and making our workshops available. We're going into corporations, and we're saying, how can we be of assistance? We have everything from programs that are going to help your people do their work better, but then also improve their skills to improve their quality of life, to how we can set up even plans for the schools, the churches, the temples, the nonprofits, the government agencies, and the businesses, which are called custom benefit programs. Because what people are setting up for their future isn't going to get them the quality of life that they want at the back end. So the thing is, we have programs that do the education plus the planning, where they can go ahead and get the foundations that they need, the safety, the growth, the protection for the health care, like we talked about. And the number one thing that people have to do is what the rich do, and that is protect themselves against taxation. Because the rich don't pay the same proportion of their income in taxes as the middle class. So the burden of the climate change and all the government programs falls on the middle class.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? And there are 4 things that are going to raise our taxes in the future. One is climate change. Like I said, they're not going to let New York, California, Florida sink into the ocean. Right? It's costing billions to go ahead and shore up those cities and towns and everything. And it's going to cost hundreds of billions, and the effects of climate change are already costing hundreds of billions. There's the high cost of healthcare. It's not getting any cheaper. It's getting more and more expensive, and they just dismantled something that could really help make it less expensive for the middle class, right? That's the National Health Care Program, Obamacare. Right. There's the healthcare, there's the climate change, there's the infrastructure, right? When President Trump first took office, he said he was going to devote $1.4 trillion to the infrastructure. It never happened. The real estimation is $4 trillion. That's what it's going to cost. Because it's not just the roads, the bridges, the tunnels, and the dams. It's the electric grid. It's the internet. It's the water system in this country. $4 trillion. Where's that money going to come from? Okay? And lastly, the deficit. The deficit is now at $21 trillion. That's the amount of money that the government pays in interest on its debt.
Right.
Where's that money going to come from when they're not reducing the military spending, they're not reducing, so they're going to have to cut programs that are for the benefit of the middle class and the poor, while the rich just got the biggest tax break in history.
Yeah, and the kids and the elderly too.
Yeah. So the thing is that your Social Security is going to suffer from this. They're refiguring how Social Security, is calculated, and they're going to change the dates to when you can go ahead and qualify for your Social Security.
I don't believe I'll be able to. I don't think Social Security is going to be available, able to, be eligible for it.
Be eligible. It's entirely possible. It might just pay your electric bill. Yeah. When Social Security was started, there were 45 workers for every 1 person getting benefits. Today, it's 2.8 workers for every 1 person getting benefits. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, of course not.
It's not sustainable. So the thing is, these 4 things are going to actually cause taxes to raise. Right. They're going to raise it on the middle class. So if you're not doing something to reduce your taxes when you need the money the most, you're not going to have the quality of life that you want. So what we're told is put your money in your 401k, which your company provides, or if you're working for a nonprofit, it's a 403b. If you're working for a government agency, it's a 457 plan. all those plans are taxable, so that when you need the money the most, your tax rate might be 35%, it might be 50%. Since the tax code was started in 1913, that's when the federal tax, there have been 62 years when the taxes were 50% or more. So what we do is we educate people how you make money, how you spend money, how the rich go ahead and protect themselves. And we go ahead and we educate people to go into programs that the rich set up in the tax code for themselves that they don't tell you about, that have a lot more protections. And then we help people on a custom basis. Right. We can set it up for families, but we can do it in conjunction with, like I said, the schools, the churches, the temples, the nonprofits, and the government agencies, as well as businesses. So we have a network of people, right, that are going, they're available through our program. And it doesn't matter what state people are in, what their level of education or income is, right? Everybody needs to know where they are, and then they need to have the option of making choices. Because right now, we don't have good choices. That's what we're given.
So, Lyle, in closing here, what would you want to share or say, or request from our viewers? How can we get involved? How can we support something?
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Best way is to go to our website.
Say it again.
planactsofkindness.org, and spend a little time reading some information, watching whatever videos are there, and simply do the first step, and that's sign up for the Karma Club, and then starting in October, you'll be able to do your daily packs. The more you do, the greater your rewards. So do the other steps as well. The volunteering, right, is built into the program, so you choose what you want to do. But if you want to get more involved, you're always welcome to contact us through the website. Our phone number's there, our contact information is there, and say, hey, right, I'd like to go ahead and do social media. I'd like to do outreach. I'd like to go ahead and do workshops. I've never presented anything before, but I have the 4 qualities that you want, right? I have desire. I have determination. I want to go ahead and learn, and I want to take action on what I learn. And if you have those qualities, we'd love to have you in our organization. If you have one of those qualities, we'd still love to have you, because when you start doing something, hey, right, the other qualities can automatically blossom over time.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to take this opportunity thank you for coming and sharing this wonderful, wonderful thing that you're doing here.
Well,
and,
likewise.
And please, I want to wish you the best of, luck with everything. And as for you, the viewers here, you've heard, Lyle speak, and like I said, it resonates really strongly with me. I'm sure it resonates with a lot of you as well. And I suggest you take on what he suggested. Look up at their website. It's going to be there, available for you. And again, thank you for another episode of Conversation with Dr. De Silva. You have a good night. Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you.
Good. It was good.